All right, we're doing an inspection here today for Mr. Sharonette. We have a leak across this front side valley. There's also a secondary leak by the chimney box on both walls, the left and right shoulder. Mr. Homeowner was also seeing a leak in the bathroom vicinity area, just below this pipe jack boot. We also have a bedroom leak approximately where the shingle patch was performed. And there's a far side leak on the home directly below this pipe jack boot as well. As mentioned earlier, it looks like we had some squirrel activity where they actually ate up and chewed this piping. Now the problem with this piping, it's supposed to come over as a full fit on all three sides, or all four sides better said. However, water is going to be able to get in between this gap here and appear as if though it's leaking through that flashing boot. Once we get over to the bedroom leak, first thing we discover is that the shingles were installed incorrectly. Secondary to that, they were also installed over the existing shingles. So on the roofing system, you can see here the old shingles where they kind of come down, and they're variously interlapped and interwoven here across those sections and areas. But the biggest problem here is the way they were installed. So of course we can't really have shingles just shoved in to the roofing system, especially when you take into account they pulled out old nails and left old holes. And when you have a stacked pattern like this, very clearly water will get in between these little keyholes and keyways, making their way behind the shingles, leaving a lot of trapped debris, trapped water, and issues where they're not supposed to arise. So simplest fix for this, we can see how far out that shingling pattern goes, is to realistically take out that entire section, talking about roughly 18 feet in total by about 6 to 7 feet up the roof line. Now for our other pipe jack here, we have a lead boot. You can see where there's been some recent squirrel activity. They've been trying to chew through this thing for some time now, trying to find a way in, and very easy, simple fix. Replace out the lead boot with a new one. Have to get some new shingles around that pocket. So here below our exhaust vent, one thing I noticed is that some of these shingles had different exposure heights, aka how much of the shingle is actually exposed to the shingle above in comparison. So I started to peek around. I noticed there was a lot of loose shingles, but the first thing I noticed once I kind of got a little further down was that a majority of this roof is installed without a proper nailing system. So what we mean by that is every shingle on this home should have 4 nails to each shingle. But what we quickly find out, and I noticed it here specifically over the valley side leak, is as we lift up these shingles in these sections, there's a lot of pockets where we're missing a nail on the end. So when it comes to overall wind resistance and the activity on the roof of what it could handle, this roof is going to be about 33 to 40% weaker than your average, as it's not going to have the proper nailing pattern across the entirety of the roof. As for the valley, we do see a lot of wear and tear down past the fiberglass. Going to be a high indicator of an aged roof. Also see some heavy cracking at this 3-tab shingle on the ridge cap. So it appears as though water is getting in behind the fiberglass and behind the loose shingles on this surface space, and traveling across that section to see that leak we're seeing in the front side valley. Now, as far as the chimney portion here at the top side, what I first noticed is that we do not have any sort of flashing or counter flashing system. It appears to be just purely silicone. And as we take a look around the roof, that entire little patch is all pulled back pretty well. Same thing goes for our leak that we see on the front side here. Do also have a little bit of stone that has since pulled away. So overall, it's going to need a proper counter flashing system and kit installed on the chimney kit, as well as some minor repair work on the chimney mortar as well. We do see that same wear and tear on the fiberglass across the front side valley. on the opposite hand of the living room. But as mentioned by the homeowner, we're not seeing any leaks or activities on this far side portion of the home. I do see, however, the same little bit of squirrel activity where they're chewing up these corners, and eventually we'll be able to break through that pipe jack boot.